What's up, everybody? This is Renata Carmen coming at you with another video about my experience with fibromyalgia. Very confusing, invisible illness. Trying to shed a little light on it. Let's see here. Last time I talked to you all, I had a bunch of labs pending and an ultrasound. Everything came back normal, which is awesome. And also confirmed my suspicions that what I was dealing with was a flare-up due to an imbalance in the microflora and fauna in my body, specifically in the gut, which I would like to talk about today. Now, of course, like I've said previously, I'm not a doctor. If you have a medical condition or a concern before trying anything, talk to your doc, blah, 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 blah. All right. Now that I've done the cover my ass policy, I'd like to talk to you all about how I manage my gut health. First of all, why should we care? I talked briefly about this before, so I'll keep it brief. You can listen to real doctors and read real doctors' work by, like, the Dr. Sonnenberg's husband and wife co-wrote a book called The Good Gut Book. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, I first learned about her through the Joe Rogan Experience. She's got her own podcast now at foundmyfitness.com, and those are probably two of the best resources I could give you for primary resource information about the latest science that we have about the gut, which we're just learning about how important it is. We really are, and we're learning how it comes to be formed. There's a lot of theories about it, and a lot of theories about why it goes wrong, and why there's such a huge percentage of people in first world countries with these invisible illnesses that affect the autoimmune and central nervous systems. It's very confusing. And there's a lot of theories and a lot of puzzle pieces. And I think it's unique to each person, like a fingerprint, and that we're looking at a spectrum. Everything from fibromyalgia to MS to autism, everything in between. It seems to all fall under a spectrum that seems to be affected by gut health as one of the primary factors. So, in our gut, which, as I said before in a previous video, the gut is technically the mouth to the anus, the beginning to the end, and it is not a tube, not a solid tube like we think it is. It is a porous membrane with the ability to allow large particles to pass through it, and just outside of the gut wall is basically the largest portion of our immune system, because if you think about it, one of the easiest ways for parasites and other things to get into our bodies is through what we eat, right? That's probably where we're the most vulnerable. So it would make sense that the gut would be where most of our immune system is. Also, what happens is we have billions and billions, literally, of bacteria inside of our guts, and basically anywhere that there's liquid, mucus, or membranes, there is some sort of flora there, or fauna, whatever. And that can be affected by diet, lifestyle, stress, environment, a bunch of different things that we're still figuring out. And when someone is really sick, one of the things that seems to happen is, like with fibromyalgia, there's a big tie to the gut flora and fauna being out of balance. So they're tying it to mood disorders as well, because the bacteria in our gut are responsible for helping to create like 90% of the hormones in our body. This includes serotonin. That's one of the biggest regulators in our entire body. It regulates mood. It regulates vitamin D2 to D3, which is really important for most of the functions in our body. And I'll nerd out about vitamin D3 in another video, because I'm already hitting like the 5-minute mark with this one. And I haven't even really gotten to the main point of what I'd like to talk about. I just want to explain the importance of the foundation of a healthy gut. And it sounds to a lot of people who don't know about it like a bunch of like hippy-dippy BS, but there is massive science behind it. If you research it, it's all there. And so I have a morning routine that I use to help manage my gut. There's also several other things that I do. If this starts to get long, I'll have to split it up. So I try to consume as many fermented foods as possible. This includes real sourdough breads, kimchi, sauerkraut, pickled vegetables, fermented dairy, anything you can think of, fermented soy as well. And another thing that I consume is raw apple cider vinegar and homemade kombucha. Now, the kombucha in the store is good. It's better than nothing, but unfortunately, it's not as good as what you're going to be able to make at home. And it's the easiest fermented food to make at home. I've tried making kimchi and even simple things like sauerkraut, and I've failed at that. But if you have a good starter culture for your kombucha, it's actually pretty hard to screw it up, which is really awesome. And it tastes really yummy if you do it right. And this has about 1 billion lactobacillus in about a 16-ounce serving, which is really awesome because lactobacillus is one of the, we're finding, most important bacteria for proper gut health. Now, in addition to the kombucha, I make a simple cup of miso soup using the longest aged miso I can get a hold of. Fermented soy is really good for you. It's really high in vitamin K2, which is very hard to get elsewhere, and that is very important for helping the bacteria in the gut to convert things into other things, like much needed serotonin and so forth. After that, I have a little bit of magnesium, because most of us are magnesium deficient. And later, at some point, I will consume apple cider vinegar. I use this on my skin. I use it in a lot of different ways. And I usually add like a teaspoon or a tablespoon or so to like a small cup. I call them apple cider vinegar shooters, and I just chase it. And at first, it takes a little bit to get used to the taste, but you'll adapt. And last but not least, certainly not least, the most important thing that I've discovered over the last several years of self-experimentation trying to manage this as best I can, excuse me, it's the morning and my stomach is still settling. BSL number 3. This is, see the label there? Medical food. This is the best probiotic that you can get a hold of. It is kosher, it's gluten-free, it's halal, it is there is some dairy used in the starter culture, so it is not strictly vegan, but it is vegetarian. And unless you have a really bad allergy, it's basically dairy free. And it's got strains of several types of bacteria that are known to help support the gut. And it is produced by a pharmaceutical company. It is produced by Sigma Tau. This, they have a couple kinds. This is the packet kind. I suggest the packet over the pill. It comes to you cold. This is how probiotics should come. This comes in the mail in a cold pack, and you put it in the fridge. It can stay at room temp for up to a week and still be active, so if you travel, that's pretty cool. And they come in these sachets, which make them, you know, really travel friendly. You can stick some in your purse or whatever. These have 450 billion CFUs, colony forming units. That's like one of the highest count probiotics that I could find, and it actually works. Most of the probiotics that you get off the shelf are dead, or they come in products that are not gluten-free or dairy-free or something like that, so if you have allergies, or they have additions like cornstarch or carrageenan or things like that. So if you're, you know, really specific about your diet, it's really hard to find a really good high-count, high-quality probiotic that actually works. And let me tell you, this stuff freaking works. And they have a extra strength one, which is twice this, so 900 billion CFUs per packet. But I stick with this one because the price value per packet is actually better with this one. It's not covered by insurance, which is a bummer. But if you have an ileal pouch or ulcerative colitis, the company has a program there that you can apply to, and they will pay for your VSL. Now, I use about a box a month when I'm really sick, sometimes a little more. When I'm in a huge flare, I use 2 packets a day. When I'm doing pretty good, I can do like a packet a couple times a week just to maintain. Now, how did I figure out that I needed this? I had to go through a whole gamut of tests that were not very fun, involving scooping my poop into containers to send off to get analyzed, and it was not fun, but it was worth it because we learned so much about my body that way. It was under the supervision of a DO, so a legit doctor, who was very educated about the latest science about the gut, and he was awesome. He was the one who helped me get diagnosed when no one else could help me figure out what's going on. He sent me home with a game plan when no one else could. And it didn't involve a list of meds. It involved actions that I could start doing right away. And that's what I love about diet and lifestyle and stress management, is these are things that we can do. We don't have to rely on anyone else for them. Unfortunately, they're out of pocket. That's the downside, and I'm hoping that we can help change that. But it is super important to know what is going on with your gut. When you have the fecal analysis done, which, you know, again, like I said, isn't the most pleasant process, but very important, very informative, you learn a lot. You learn more than just, you know, about your flora and fauna. You learn about your macro and micro biotic deficiencies. So if you're deficient in magnesium or vitamin D, or let's say your pancreas isn't working properly and you're not producing digestive enzymes, you can learn all that. I didn't know that. I was always told I was producing too much acid, and I actually wasn't producing enough because my pancreas was producing like 0 digestive enzymes. And so since I've learned that, I've been supplementing with digestive enzymes, and that's really helpful. There's also digestive enzymes in fermented foods and fruits, vegetables, things like that. So that is how I manage my gut health. Right now, I am pulling out of a flare, and it's not fun. It's very painful. Gut healing is very painful, and it causes a lot of discomfort. It causes mood swings, you know, fatigue, because your body is literally like restitching itself from the inside out, and the bacteria affect our mood. They affect our cognitive function, our ability to problem solve, our ability to communicate. They affect what we eat, because they affect what we crave. We have taste buds inside of our deep parts of our gut. It's fascinating. So fascinating. There's so little that we know. So, you know, as you're going through the healing process, make sure you have the supervision of a good doc. I'm not saying that just to say it. You need someone to help you out, to help run labs, to have your back, to make sure that you're doing things right, that you're not taking too much vitamin D, that you're consuming the right probiotics and things like that. You don't want to just start throwing this stuff at it. I mean, I think it's pretty hard to hurt yourself with this stuff, but it's pretty important to go through that process of getting the analysis done, finding out specifically what you need, with the supervision of someone who knows what the hell they're doing, who isn't going to just try to throw a bunch of pills at you. And yes, don't get me wrong. Those are useful. I'm not here to talk smack about meds. They're useful. I just feel like we patients should be offered more options. And that's why I put these videos out, to try to share my personal experiences with you, so that hopefully it helps. And so that you also know you're not alone. As always, I will try to put notes below the video. If anyone has any questions, message me. Hit me up on Instagram at Renata_Carmen. www.renatacarmen.com is the website. And I'm on Patreon. www.patreon.com/Renata Carmen / whatever. Thank you so much. As always, I'm not seeking pity. I'm just trying to spread awareness, education, and understanding, and help get the ball moving on getting new ways of diagnosing and managing these illnesses. So I hope this has been helpful to anyone who's watched it. Anyone who's dealing with something like this, know that you're not alone. There are millions of people going through the same thing with you. We're all online. You at least have, your internet fam, if nothing else. And anyone else who's watched this, thank you for your support, because I know that we're a pain in the ass to live with, us chronically ill people, but, you know, we do the best with what we can. And I hope that this, you know, like I said, helps. So I'm just rambling now. All right. Thank you so much. Love and light.